Well, Lucas Botkin has announced his new rail recently. It's come out on the website, and we've learned a little bit more about it. As a certified rail autist, wanted to jump into it for you guys today. And I think this is something that was pretty highly anticipated from Botkin, or at least seeing what he's going to do with his new company. This is one of the things he's launching. And this was most interesting to me as I'm building out the apocalypse build you guys are forcing me to make. I've been doing a deep dive into Rails. So I thought it was a great time to dive in and see if this is actually interesting or not. And I think there's a certain group of people, right, that are going to be interested in what Lucas does, no matter what he does. But I think the gun market today is saturated to a point where if you're not doing something incredibly different or unique, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Smith are maybe not going to open up the wallet or the Visa to add it to their inventory. It just may not happen with where most guys are at with inflation and everything going on. But here's the rail. So we learned more about it. And Lucas's inspiration for making this rail is he wanted to clone the early Remington situations. He shows it in the video right here that he got his hands on. And the idea or motivation for that were these guys right here. He wanted to be able to directly mount an accessory rail to the outside of the handguard without M-lock screws inserting themselves inside the inner diameter. And that is a noble goal, I will say. One thing you'll notice about the original Remington and the chassis he shows is they're all monolithic, right? It's kind of an interesting thing we'll get back to. And so the reason he stated he wanted to build this rail is because in his experience, these little guys would fall out after extended use or a certain number of times screwing and unscrewing. They would fall out. So according to Lucas, that's why he wanted to kind of bring this design back and bring the rail back, okay? One other benefit we'll touch on quickly is because it's made of a thicker aluminum, which we'll also talk about, is number one, you can dump several magazines at the range without it heating up on you, was one of the benefits. And the other is because it's so wide in the interior, you can fit a tucked suppressor inside. So that's all well and good. And I think we all want Lucas to be successful after escaping his previous setup there. But there's a few problems with this rail as it's presented, okay? Number one, the rail technology itself essentially does already exist in something called the Q-cert.
All right.
Okay, so I don't want to rain on Lucas's parade there, but that is something that is already on the market. As well, we have tucked suppressor rails on the market also. And I thought that kind of as a whole, we were getting away from running those just because of how hot they get. I thought that was kind of a no-no in 2025. But the other thing that was interesting to me and what I really wanted to see with this rail was the barrel nut attachment method, because that could have made this very interesting or not. And we didn't really learn a lot about that in the presentation today. There's a bit of a gap here, and we don't really see any alignment tabs on the top or bottom like you would see with a Geisley rail. I'll show you here quickly. That would make physical contact with your upper to give you some semblance of alignment here. And I'll just note too that the problem Lucas is trying to solve, having a exterior Picatinny attachment point on your otherwise bare rail, has already been solved, quote unquote, by a Geisley. We have this option here if that's what you're looking for. Although Lucas did state in the video he preferred a little bit thicker circumference to grab onto. I'm with you there, Lucas. The other thing that would have made this rifle interesting was, I guess, hearing anything about the barrel nut at all. Maybe he'll reveal that in the future. But the other cool thing that I would have liked to see is some sort of compatibility with the Centurion / Forward Controls Design upper receiver alignment holes. Okay, so for those of you who are worried about a handguard aligning perfectly and having a very repeatable zero for your accessories, I do think this problem has kind of been solved in a way by this whole universe. And the Forward Controls Design, you'll notice, compatible with more manufacturers. There's Zev, there's Hodge Industries, there's Sons of Liberty Gunworks that have this interfacing ability with that 1/8 inch, I believe, steel alignment hole. And then there's all the Centurion options that for their rails are compatible with their own ecosystem as well. And they have a top notch because that's how some of their rails fit in with the OG barrel nut, by the way. Kind of cool. And then there's the other thing about, well, if we want to fit it over a suppressor, we kind of have that already with Midwest Industries. And you'll note the alignment tabs here for the upper that Midwest includes. So I guess the main thing I was hoping to learn about this rail is still kind of a mystery to me. So maybe that will get resolved in the future. But I do just have to say, as an initial feedback point, everyone's looking to Lucas to see what he's going to do. He has all this tremendous momentum from T-Rex arms. And to me, it feels like the problem he's trying to solve with this rail specifically has already been solved by other manufacturers. So it's kind of disappointing to see in that regard. Now, there is something to be said still among these rails that exist. None of the rails that are on the market right now that interface with this hole are quad. So that would have been fun to see. Now, Centurion does have one, but it's specific to their uppers only. Not compatible with the Forward Controls design uppers as far as I know. But that would have been awesome to see, because then you could have something that lines up perfectly with your upper and then has that machined in Picatinny mounting point to put your laser. That would be, in theory, a perfect zero every time you mounted that up, right? Because how could it shift? It physically couldn't, right? Unless the aluminum bends. That's another question too. He could have done a rail that was 70-75 aluminum. Those are basically unobtainium, impossible to get. Only a few manufacturers make them, and I believe they sell out almost instantly when those are brought to market. Most are 6000 series. I believe Geisley has a 7000 series, but it's not specified if it's 70-75. Maybe someone can correct me on that. And the other thing too is Lucas says in a comment he's going to be getting steel inserts for the QD. Now, if you missed it, both Remington and Q with the Q-cert have stainless steel inserts on these screw holes, because when you screw something in, I had always been told that having dissimilar metals or something that's aluminum mating up with steel was a huge no-no. Okay, so I'm not fully pressing X to doubt. They do say in the video here that, hey, because it's so thick, it's basically not a problem. And so I don't know about that. Like I said, I'm not pressing X to doubt, but my finger is hovering over the X key. But at the end of the day, I think we're just kind of curious what Lucas is going to make. Now, I do have an idea for a upper that could mate up perfectly with all Picatinny equipped uppers. That would be something interesting to see. And like I said, something that interfaces with the alignment holes of modern uppers, that has some of those standoffs for mounting a laser or even a pick section would be pretty interesting, because all of them are M-lock right now. I guess you can mount on top, right, with the maul and things. But so it's just interesting. Quick feedback maybe for Lucas, for the team, and maybe we'll see the barrel nut in the future. I think we all do want Lucas to be successful, as mentioned, and he has a few products I'm sure he will sell out based on the batch size. He's got the CQB targets here. Shouldn't this be some they're going to be realistic? I hate to be that guy, but Lucas, come on, what's with the white guys as targets? I thought he would be on top of this. Maybe he's simulating, I'm not going to say it, but yeah, so that's interesting. And then we have a sling from Lucas. That's exactly what the market needed, another sling. So thank you, Lucas. But yeah, just my feedback on the rail. Guys, don't harass Lucas. Leave your respectful, thoughtful comments below. We'll see what happens. We will watch the gun manufacturing industry with great interest, and we'll see you all in the next video. Let me know what you guys are up to this weekend. Everybody have a good one. Let me know what rail you guys are running. Is this enough for you to switch? The fact that it's thicker and you can screw into aluminum, is that going to do it for you guys? Let me know down below. We'll get some good discussion going. Guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care out there.